Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to this week's magazine review, and we are on the May 1989 review of The $1 Million Man on the front cover. And I gotta tell you, this looks like this is going to be an absolutely amazing edition, and absolutely love the fact that we get to see black suited $1 Million Man because, anytime you get to see like an early rendition for me, like early 1990s Hasbro era, any of these characters. So that's always a fun idea for me, right? So obviously $1 Million Man in black suit. I grew up watching this era of $1 Million Man, but when I think $1 Million Man, I think Hasbro Series 2 green suited $1 Million Man, because that's the action figure that I had as a kid. And to this day, I still consider the green suited $1 Million Man from Hasbro to be my all-time favorite $1 Million Man action figure. But this is iconic. This is a fantastic look. And it is infamous to see the black suited $1 Million Man with the $1 Million belt draped around his waist. So pretty incredible. And kind of learning in the last issue that the $1 Million belt, which was worth about $40,000, and even 40, what is it, 1988, 1989, so we're looking at 36 years ago. $40,000, 36 years ago, that's today's money. I mean, what does that transfer over to today's money? Probably twice as much. So that's a pretty hefty price tag to pay for something. Still one of my favorite belts, man. I love the $1 belt. Like I said, one of my top 5 favorite belts ever. So in this issue, Beefcake battles Rude and Brett battles Solo. Who the heck is Solo? Oh, stupid me. He battles Solo, as in he battles individually. Oh God, do I feel stupid? It's one of those days, man. I'm not even drunk yet. All right, put it together. Put it together, buddy. Ted DiBiase buys himself a belt. Well, damn, you're like one of the most talented damn wrestlers on the planet, and at this point, never an Intercontinental Champion, never a Heavyweight Champion. It wasn't until he teamed up with IRS that he finally get himself a darn tag team belt. Insane, right? So he had to buy himself the $1 Million belt. He had to buy the heavyweight title from Andre. It's insane, right? Let's get through this magazine. Let's see what's going on. Brett battles Solo. Wow. I'm not even going to let myself down on that one. Crazy. Battle of the Titans, $1 Million belt. Hart and Neidhart success as singles. I mean, Jim Neidhart had some success as an individual wrestler, but I think you never really saw Jim Neidhart, battle individually for long. I think he was always tagged with somebody. Generally, a good chunk of his career with Brett, and later on, with Owen. And then, of course, with the Hart Foundation faction, with Owen, with Brett, with Davey Boy. Later on, Brian Pillman was thrown into, the under the whole Stu Hart Foundation faction. So, I mean, nah, man. I mean, he had his singles matches here and there, but he's best known as a tag team guy. Very few wrestlers, Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, to me, are really like the only caveats that I can really think of that really had dynamic careers as both singles and tag team wrestlers. But very few guys had the major success that those guys had from both spectrums. And even Shawn as, the Rockers, yes, as the Midnight Rockers and AWA as tag team champions, sure, but never tag team champions in WWF. So, did they really have the success as a tag team? Not really. Blast more power out of your NES. Yep. One of the things I'm going hot and heavy into right now, not only buying Nintendo video games, but I don't want just the cartridge, right? I want the complete in-box gaming system. So like I want the original, box. I want the manual. If it comes with a poster, I want that. Yeah, you can go out buy the game probably for around 10, even 15, $15. But instead you're probably going out paying anywhere between $50 to like $150 because you want the entire thing. And the game itself is probably horrendous. It's probably like one of the worst video games ever. Think WrestleMania or Steel Cage or, something like that. But it's just nostalgia, man. You just want like this old school stuff. But like recently I picked up like RoboCop, which I've had for weeks and I still haven't played. Or, WCW with, Road Warriors on the front cover, which I bought that and I still haven't played that either. But at some point I am going to get back into the whole Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis gameplay. And I'm going to bring that back to the channel. And the tag team, I think it's called Tecmo Tag Team, if I'm not mistaken. Or something tag team. I forget what the title is called, but something tag team is one video game I want to play with you guys, and the WCW video game is the other one with the Legion of Doom on the cover. So maybe in the next week or so, that's something that's coming. What's this I see? Did they finally change out the advertisement? What? Oh, shoot. Just last week, I was bitching about Bret Hart being on this advertisement cover because week after week after week, always Bret Hart saved 42% on this advertisement. And after last week, I'm like, you know what? I'm getting sick and tired of seeing damn Bret Hart on this cover, on this advertisement week after week. And now here we are this week. No more Bret Hart. Ain't that something? But we do have a heart. I mean, it might be Jimmy Hart, but we still have our heart nonetheless. But that's pretty awesome, though. Stay ringside with the magazine, with WWF the Magazine. Be a part of the World Wrestling Federation. Subscribe today and save up to 42%. No, thank you. Newsbreakers, join the excitement with the WWF Fan Club. Yep. Let's see. The Carey family is delighted to stand next to Big John Studd. As members of the WWF Fan Club, the Careys enjoy a WWF event free of charge. Nice. Arriba Santana. I don't know what it is about freaking Tito Santana. I am just not a fan of this guy. I know if I grew up, if I was born 2, maybe even 3, maybe even a year or no. If I was born in 84, even if I was born a year earlier, that wouldn't have made a shed of difference. If I was born 3 years earlier, like if I was born in 82, would that have made a difference? I don't think so. Like I would have had been born, I would say at least 1980. I think if I was born in like 1980 at the bare minimum, and actually had a good chunk of the 80s to enjoy, and yes, maybe then I would have said yes, I would have been a huge Tito Santana fan. I probably would have loved the hell out of Tito Santana, but I'm not a fan of Tito Santana. Like, he's just one of those guys that just never did it for me. Like what I grew up with in terms of Tito Santana is El Matador, right? And El Matador is just one of those guys that were just, he was just there. Like, he was someone that you watched, but you weren't like a crazy fan of. Like Coco Beware, even Bushwhackers, they're just someone that was there. Like, you watch them, you might have enjoyed them a little bit, but like they weren't like anyone that was like over the top, like you were just crazy about. Skinner. I think Skinner today would have been like someone I would have been fascinated by and would have enjoyed a whole lot more today as an adult, but as a kid, like, Skinner probably wasn't someone that like I was overly enthusiastic about. So never really care about Tito Santana, not really. And Mr. Perfect, anytime you see Perfect without the singlet, it's just so odd, man. It's like seeing Bret Hart without the suspenders, man, without the shirt with the two straps, without seeing him in, like, whenever you see Bret Hart in like mid 80s in like black and blue, that's to me is odd. It is so weird seeing Bret Hart in anything other than black and pink. So, like, when you start seeing Andre in yellow trunks and maroon red trunks, blue trunks, that's not my Andre, right? So, to me, seeing him in a black singlet, that's my Andre the Giant. So, like when I see Perfect in like black trunks and not some mixed color singlet, it's just weird. Send MTV $15 and don't read the rest of this ad. Yeah, no. Here's what you won't get when you pay $15 to join the MTV Record Club. Oh God, another one of these suckers. Even in WWF the Magazine, they're trying to get your money for these damn CDs and music. Probably charge you cassettes too. Yeah, I'm not reading this, but I assume that these are not just CDs. I assume that these are regular cassettes as well. She got vinyl in there. Probably. At least she's got a nice collection there. I see. Ah, hell, she even got Bobby Brown in there. I mean, Guns N' Roses right at the top. I mean, that obviously was the first thing that caught my attention. I got Brutus. We got Rick Rude. Get him. Man, how would you like to have Andre's claws wrapped around your freaking neck? Ah, brutal. I feel like the palm of this man's hand would fit around my entire head. You see, this to me, like if I were a kid, right, growing up in the 1980s, born in 1980, 81, 82, what have you. Let's go earlier. If I were a kid born in 76, 79, 82, whatever, and I was growing up playing with LJN figures, and I wasn't raised on Hasbro's. To me, Big John Studd and Andre the Giant, they would not be competitors. To me, they would be my tag team champions. Those guys would always be tag team champions because in reality, looking at your LJN collection, who else could ever compete against them? The only one that could really compete would be Hulk Hogan. But who else would you have that would challenge? Hogan and Warrior? Maybe. Hogan and Savage? Potentially. But Savage is a terrible figure, right? So you wouldn't want to use that on a consistent basis. And by the time Warrior comes around in 89, I mean, you're probably, depending on how old you are, like if you're born in 76, by the time Warrior comes around in 89, you're 13. Are you still playing with wrestling figures? Maybe. I mean, you might be 16 still. I mean, shoot. I mean, when did I stop? I mean, I stopped playing with wrestling figures probably when I was about 8 or 9. But, I mean, that's not necessarily because I stopped enjoying them, but it's just because, I don't know. I don't know why I stopped playing with wrestling figures. I know when I was 8 years old, Power Rangers came out, and that became like my new obsession. But even then, like I collected all those toys, and I had like this huge, massive collection when I was a kid, right? But I never played with those toys. So, like, why did I have the collections, or why did I have the toys and just never play with them? I collected them because I wanted the toys because I watched the show and I enjoyed the show, but I never did anything with them for play purposes. So, like, I always talk about having, like, this very small period of play during my life. Probably between, like, the ages of, like maybe 4 and 7. So, it's kind of weird for me. And, Ninja Turtles, small period between, like, 89, 90, maybe. Wrestling figures, probably between, like, 1990, 92. Maybe a little bit into 93, but that's essentially it for me. Love this freaking belt. Love the belt, man. I love it. It's just a gorgeous looking belt. Uh-oh. Don't lose my little card here. Any of the extra $1 million belts that I get, I got to put the extra belts on my Virgil figures, right? Just because, I mean, I got plenty of $1 Million Man figures, right? But I always feel like, Virgil is one of those unsung heroes that kind of needs his own $1 million belt. And he was a part-time holder of the $1 million belt as well, so why not? I don't know, man. For Sherry Martel, she just looks weird without makeup. Like, I absolutely love her with the face paint on, but seeing her without it, again, unnatural. I love the scary face paint look. It's so awesome. Who's the real giant? Andre versus Stud. Well, I think Stud was, 6'10" or something? And I think Andre was like 7'1". But I'm always hearing contradicting sizes. Like, some people say Andre was only like 6'10". Other people say Andre was like 6 or 7'1". Others say he was like 7'4". So, but most people say between 6'10" and 7'1". So I don't know. But nobody ever says that Big John Studd was over 7 feet. So I always say that Andre had the slight edge over Big John. So, but even Akeem, One Man Gang, even he was, a giant. I mean, he had to be pushing 6'10", 6'11". So, I mean, WWF had a lot of giants. What's the modern day guys? Not the giant himself, Big Show, but who's the other guy? Big Cali or something like that. Something Cali. No, the Great Cali. That's his name. I think that guy was over 7 foot. I think he was like 7'1" or something. So I don't know. I don't know who the tallest. You know what? I think Jorge Gonzalez was probably the largest WWF wrestler of all time at 7'7". I doubt any WWF wrestler will ever be taller than that. You find someone that's going to hover closer to 8 feet ever again, that would be a freaking landmark. I love the Boston Crab. I mean, it's close enough to the sharpshooter. And in fact, this guy looks like he's actually got him in the sharpshooter. No, it doesn't look like... No, that's definitely a Boston Crab. For a second there, he looked like he had the legs kind of crossed over like the sharpshooter, but it's not. But Rick Martel with the Boston Crab, and then, you know, even Sergeant Slaughter used to use the Boston Crab, and of course, sharpshooter for Owen Hart and Bret Hart. Dan Richard, my brother, when we were kids, Butthole used to always put us in down. Sharpshooter always used to beat us that way. Damn asshole. He always weighed more than us, right? And of course, the damn jerk used to use that to his down advantage. You know, it's kind of hard to freaking like kick out of the damn sharpshooter once you're putting a damn sharpshooter. Once they turn you over, you know how once they sit down on you, you know, all that extra weight, it's like, you know, they're twice your size. That's it, you're finished. You can sit there and struggle and squirm all you want for about 20 seconds, even a minute, but after a while, that crap hurts. And unlike WWF, where I'm pretty sure they're not putting all their weight on it, all their weight on you and whatnot. When you're, you know, wrestling with your friends, wrestling with your siblings, they don't care if they're hurting, man. They're putting all the pressure in the world. They're making sure they're applying the pain. Man, my brothers and I, we used to torture the heck out of each other. Yeah, we definitely brought the hurt. The Hitman and the Anvil. You know, I'm sure Brett and Anvil had their own matches, one-on-one matches, but I'm trying to think back, and I do not recall them ever squaring off against each other. Guys, do any of you recall any one-on-one matches between the two of them? And like I said, I'm positive that they've had to square off one-on-one probably multiple occasions. I just don't recall any matches. But if anybody can send me a link, I would love to watch that. That seems like a fun match, or matches. In fact, I'm probably going to end up going upstairs and searching that for myself, because why not? And of course, the greatest wrestling movie ever made. 1989's No Holds Barred. And one of the best scenes in cinematic history. What's that smell? Dookie! You don't have to be a fan of wrestling, or Hulk Hogan, or No Holds Barred. But there is not a person on this planet that does not know this one scene. That just tells you everything you need to know about a particular movie. When it has that sort of impact on moviegoers and viewers, and just on the public in general. It doesn't have to be the greatest the most, doesn't have to be the greatest acted movie in the world. It just has to be fun. And No Holds Barred was. It was a fun movie. It was a great fun movie when you were 4 years old. And 30 years later, or what is it now? 36 years later, the movie still holds up. I think my wife and I, we were sitting down watching I think it was what was it? Like Family Swap or Wife Swap, whatever it was called. And there was an episode with Joan Severance in that episode. And it was just weird seeing Joan Severance in an episode of Wife Swap of all actors or celebrities who could have gotten like Joan Severance. I'm like, weird. Like, really? I don't know. Like, you don't picture Joan Severance being the type of actress that would appear in something like that. Like, you would think that would kind of be beneath her. It'd be like seeing, I don't know, like Susan Sarandon or something, like on an episode of Wife Swap. Like, really? I don't know. But, whatevs. Alright. We don't care about the lowdown, do we? Not really. But the pictures are always nice. That's what we come for. We come for the photos. It's beautiful but meaningless. Jack Tunney on the $1 Million Belt. Well, yeah, that's basically what it is. Don't want to read it? By now, you've all seen the $1 Million Belt, owned by the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. I have to admit, it's a gorgeous piece of work. It must have taken the work of highly skilled craftsmen to create, and I've no doubt it cost a fortune to produce. Just the same, I've no doubt that, as far as the World Wrestling Federation is concerned, the $1 Million Belt is meaningless. There's no way any wrestler in the WWF can say that he has introduced a new belt. As past events involving Mr. DiBiase have demonstrated, WWF rules state unequivocally that a title can be gained only in the ring. You can't buy it, as Mr. DiBiase learned. Nice. Caught in the act. Yeah. Stridex big pads. Man, that is an old school Stridex box. Ha. Pretty interesting advertisement, though. Trying to think. My buddy Kirk, man, he's like going all in for like these old school wooden grain TVs. And now kind of seeing like his passion for like these wooden grain TVs. I don't know. I'm kind of getting the urge to pick up some of these old TVs myself now. But do I really need it? Probably not, but who knows? I might get the electricians come back and start building some new outlets for the garage. And I might want to put a TV or two in there. Especially for the gym setup. Not just for gaming, but, have a VCR in there. Especially if I'm working out, have a VCR. Have the VHS tapes going. Be nice to have something to watch, right? So, yeah. As expected, I thought this was going to be an amazing magazine, and it was. So, definitely glad to review this one with you guys. Hopefully, you enjoyed this one too. Well, guys, as always, thank you so much for tuning in this week with me, and I look forward to talking to you in the comments, and I will see you next week for the next magazine review. Thanks, everybody.